Hi there, dear listener. Laszlo here with a quick pre-roll message for you. Before we get started, I want to let you know there are all kinds of convenient ways for you to support my efforts to bring you all these podcast shows on Chinese history, Chinese sayings, and tea history. If you go to my website at teacup.media and click the support button at the top, you'll find a bunch of ways to show some appreciation. There's Patreon, where you can get early access to new episodes, exclusive content, and an invite to the Teacup Media Discord channel, and more. CHP Premium, that also has early access, exclusive episodes, and ad-free versions of the entire CHP back catalog. Plus, there's several other ways to donate to the show as well. Check the episode show notes for a link to that very page. And my deepest thanks for listening and supporting me and my humble efforts. Hello again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Chinese Sayings Podcast. Laszlo Montgomery here with another Chengyu. And like the past 5 episodes, I have for all of you another musical Chinese saying. Gaoshan Liu Shui. One of the more better-known Chengyu, but who am I to say? I didn't grow up hearing this one. And before we lay this saying down on the dissecting table, let me first say it comes from a source that we've used before. This one comes straight to us from the Li Shi Chunqiu, the Discourses of Liu Bu Wei. If you could remember from way back in Season 1, Episode 2, I told you the story of Tan Xiao Shi Da. How can you forget the Marquis of Shu, who for the sake of some nice swag, invited the Qin state to build the Stone Cattle Road and come down to his perfect little world down in amazing Sichuan province with its pandas, tea, and spicy food, and before you knew it, this Shu ruler wasn't the ruler anymore. Anyway, same source for this one today. Gaoshan Liu Shui. It's not only a famous Chengyu, it's also one of the most famous Chinese songs from ancient times. Here's what it means. Gaoshan Liu Shui. Gao means tall, high, or lofty. A shan is a mountain. Gaoshan, lofty mountains. Liu means to flow, and shui means water, or in this example, liu shui, the flowing waters of, let's say, a river. Gaoshan liu shui, lofty mountains and flowing water. That must mean something. So let's get right into the story. Well, if this one didn't come from the Warring States period, then it must have come from the Spring and Autumn period, which preceded the Warring States period. There are 2 stars getting equal billing in this production. Yu Boya and Zhong Ziqi. Yu Boya, better known perhaps simply by his given name of Boya, was an official from the state of Jin, a station next door in Chu, who was also a great musician. And his instrument was the qin, the zither, or lute, the same exact instrument from Dui Niu Tan Qin, playing a zither to an ox. How can we forget that one? This story takes place in the state of Chu, in the city of Hanyang, today one of the tri-cities that makes up the mighty city of Wuhan. Yu Boya was there as an envoy from his home state of Jin. One gorgeous evening under the moonlight, Boya was out on his boat playing his music, and in the distance he espied a rustic woodsman in the forest, quietly listening very intently. Boya at once judged this book by its cover and thought, how can such a rough-looking fellow as this one, who obviously isn't from the city and has no formal education, how can he possibly appreciate my music? So Boya called out to him and asked this guy his name, and the man replied, Zhong Ziqi. Yu Boya thought he'd have a little fun at Mr. Zhong's expense and asked him, I bet you can't name that tune I just played. Without a moment's hesitation, Zhong Ziqi answered, who doesn't know that one? Kongzi ku Yanhui. It's Confucius crying over the death of Yanhui. Boy, I was sort of taken aback by such a bucolic-looking fellow knowing this, and so he pressed him on the technical aspects of the piece. This man of the woods was able to explain, quite expertly I might add, what this musical work was all about. So Boya, once again, he was utterly taken aback by Zhong Ziqi's musical knowledge. Boya said to Zhong Ziqi, how about this one? And at once he began to play a beautiful tune that he had written that suggested tall mountains. Zhong Ziqi closed his eyes and said, I could tell right away this one depicts lofty mountains. Yu Boya then played a tune that sounded of flowing rivers, and Zhong Ziqi said, swiftly flows the water of the river. Boya put down his chin and exclaimed, Dang, I completely misjudged you. You really know my music. I never met someone who has your grasp of what I'm playing. People listen to me perform, but they just don't get it. But you know. And the two became fast friends, and beside the river they talked on and on about music, and Boya really believed he had met his soulmate. And these two, Yu Boya and Zhong Ziqi, right there on the banks of that river, went on to become sworn brothers. And furthermore, the two men agreed henceforth, every year they would meet at the same spot and talk about music and enjoy each other's company. So a year later to the day, Boya was still serving in the state of Chu, and thereupon went to that spot along the river where he had met his sworn brother Zhong Ziqi. So he got there first and at once began playing, but after a while it became late and no Zhong Ziqi. So he made inquiries and learned that tragically Zhong Ziqi had, not long ago, died of an illness. Yu Boya was struck with emotion and such grief, and he went to Zhong Ziqi's gravesite and played Gao Shan Liu Shui one last time. And when he finished, with his tears flowing, he took his zither into his hands and smashed it on the rocks that line the riverbank, vowing that never again will he play his music. The only one who truly understood him and all the meaning and subtleties of his musicianship was now gone from his life. He never picked up an instrument again. So when you use the term Gao Shan Liu Shui, not only is it an exclamation of fine and beautiful music, comparing whatever you just heard to Yu Boya's spring and autumn classical pieces, it has a double meaning thanks to the story of Yu Boya and Zhong Ziqi, taken from the discourses of Liu Buwei, the Lü Shi Chunqiu. This Chengyu also describes true and pure friendship, or two soulmates, two friends whose bond was special and uncommon. This piece of music is very well known to classical Chinese musicians and can be played on the guzheng, pipa, qin, and probably other instruments as well. You can go to YouTube or Youku or any of these video streaming services and find there are many, many videos of musicians playing Gao Shan Liu Shui. Hear it for yourself and see if you are moved by this as much as Zhong Ziqi was. So that's our Chinese saying for this time, another musical one at that. Yu Boya and Zhong Ziqi, music was their bond, and the spirit of their friendship was manifested in their mutual understanding and love of music. Until the next time, this is your humble host and narrator, Laszlo Montgomery, coming to you as usual, but not always, from the lovely little town of Los Angeles, located between San Diego and Santa Barbara. You're welcome to go check out the other offerings at Teacup Media, the China History Podcast, and China Vintage Hour. Flying Cathay Pacific? You could listen to this fine program there, too, tucked away inside their award-winning in-flight entertainment system. Okay, now enough grandstanding. See you next time, everyone.